So watch me transform this dark skin beauty from start to finish. If this is what you'd like to see, keep on watching. So please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. So first thing first, I'm going to be cleaning up the face in order to remove dirt and oil on the face. Then I went ahead using my Kiss Beauty spray to hydrate her skin, after which I let it absorb into the skin. Moving on to moisturizer, I'm going to be using my Cetaphil moisturizer to moisturize her face. So apply it generously all over the face. After moisturizing the face, you want to let it absorb into the skin before you prime. I'm going to be using my Kiss Beauty primer. I'm just going to apply it all over the face. So after applying the primer, I'm going to be using this Zaron hydrating primer to moisturize her lip. So it's good to moisturize the lip. It helps the lip application process. After that, I'm going to be setting the face. This would help to lock in the skin prep. Next, I'm going to be applying foundation. I'm going to be using this L'Oreal foundation in the shade C10. I'm just using my flat brush to apply it all over the face before blending it into the skin. So for easy blending, I'm going to be spraying the face. This would help me blend in the foundation without stress. After which I went ahead using my beauty sponge, my damp beauty sponge, to blend the foundation into the skin. So after blending in the foundation, I'm going to be locking it up with the same spray. After that, I dried it up before moving on to contour. So to contour her face, I'm going to be using this Avon foundation in the shade 035 to contour her face. So whenever you want to contour the face, it's best to use a shade that is 2 to 3 shades darker than the skin to contour the face. So after contouring the face, moving on to cream blush, I'm going to be using this orange shade from my Blossom lip palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead using my beauty sponge to blend. So next is to highlight her face. I'm going to be using my LA Pro concealer in the shade Fawn to highlight her face. So I'm just applying it only on the inner corner of her face. Then I added this Flawless Ivy concealer. I'm just going to apply this on the outer corner of her face. After that, I used my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So to contour the nose, I'm going to be using the same shade I used to contour the face to contour the nose. Then I added the remaining on her forehead before blending it. So next is to set the concealer with my Merak setting powder in the shade Cinnamon. But before setting, I went back using my beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath her eyes to avoid creasing. So after that, I went ahead to set. So while setting, you need to be light-handed. Take it one step at a time. Do not pack too much setting powder so it doesn't cake. So what am I doing? I'm setting the concealer on the highlighted area using my setting powder. So next is to set the rest of her face. I'm going to be mixing these two shades from my Becharm powder palette to set the rest of her face. So if you want to set the rest of your face, it's best to use the exact skin shade of your skin color to set the rest of the face. Do not use a shade lighter or darker. For dry contouring, which is low light contouring, I'm going to be using this shade here to set the cream contour I applied earlier. So next I'm going to be applying this light shade of powder from the same powder palette and apply it on the areas I highlighted. So I'm using this light shade of powder to dust off the excess powder on her face. After that, I'm going to be contouring her nose with this shade of powder from the same powder palette. So I went back using that contour brush to blend to avoid harsh lines or demarcation between the highlighted area and the places I contoured. So after that, I'm going to be using my Tara blush. I'm just going to apply this blush on her cheekbone. So after that, I'm going to be spraying the face again. This would help the skin to blend properly into the skin and also reduce the powder effect on her skin. After that, I went ahead to dry it up before moving on to baking. For baking, I'm going to be using the same setting powder I used to set her face to bake her face. So moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my brow charm on her brows. I'm just going to use my spoolie brush to lay it nicely. So to outline her brows, I'm going to be using my Carrel gel liner and my angled brush to draw the outline following the shape of her brows. So to highlight the brows, I'm going to be using my Eyebrow concealer in the shade A30 to highlight her brows. After that, I used my blending brush to blend the concealer underneath her brows. So to highlight the top of her brows, I used the same foundation I used on her face to highlight the top of her brows. Then I went back blending the concealer underneath her brows before setting it. So next I'm going to be setting the concealer, mixing these two shades from the same powder palette to set the concealer underneath her brows. So on the inner corner, I'm going to be using this shade to set the inner corner of her lid. So moving on to the eyes, I'm going to be using my Viange eyeshadow base to prime her lid. After that, I used the same brush to blend. So I added a little setting powder on the areas underneath the eyes to avoid fallout from the eyes, because if you start applying eyeshadow, if you're not careful, some parts of the eyeshadow will fall on the skin. That is why it's best to apply setting powder so that it would cover your skin, so whenever the eyeshadow falls on the setting powder, it won't affect the skin. So I'm going to be applying this purple eyeshadow. I started from the outer corner, then blended it towards the inner corner of her lid. This purple eyeshadow is from Focallure eyeshadow palette. So I'm going to be blending the edges with this shade from the same eyeshadow palette. So after that, I'm going to be applying this dark brown shade from the same eyeshadow palette and apply it on the outer corner of her lid, then gently blend it towards the inner corner of her lid. After blending, I'm going to be applying this shade from the same eyeshadow palette and apply it on the inner corner of her lid.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess
Then
you're
I
trying to
added
stay
this color
strong
from
and
the same
fake a
eyeshadow
smile
palette.
until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray.
After that, I used my eyeshadow blending brush to blend to avoid any demarcation.
As you fade away.
So next is to line her upper and lower lash line. I'm going to be using my carrot gel liner and my angle brush to line her upper and lower lash line.
Chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be
So next I'm going to be prepping her natural lashes with my Zaron mascara to give it volume.
the lows. No, you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking with me,
After which I went ahead to wear her these lashes from Miss Metics.
be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really
So moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using this nubanbeauty lip stain in the shade Peach to outline her lip.
you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile
Then I went
until
ahead
I
applying this
look
lip
away.
stain in the middle
But I've
just to
known you too
brighten up the
long,
lip.
it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray.
After that, I used my blending brush to blend.
As you fade away. As you fade
So I went ahead adding this brown shade from my Blossom lip palette to further outline her lip. After that, I blended it with my blending brush. So I went back applying more blush on her cheekbone because I really wanted to pop.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's
After
wrong
that,
and
I
why you
pressed her
never
natural and
said you
false lashes
felt that way.
together.
I guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I
Then I
look
applied
away.
mascara
But I've known you too
underneath
long, it
her
hurts to
lashes.
watch your blue eyes fade to gray.
So next, I used the contour brush I used to contour the face. I used it to blend out these harsh lines on her reverse contour.
As you fade
So next, I'm going to be applying this light shade powder from the same powder palette on the places I highlighted. I'm also using that light powder to dust off the excess powder on her face.
I know you told your friend
So
you're
next, I'm
not
going to be applying
okay.
mascara on her
Tell me
lower
what's wrong
lash.
and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away.
Then I went back using that contour brush to blend again. After that, I'm going to be setting the face with my Keys Beauty Fix Spray. After setting it, I let it dry properly into the skin. So my client wanted her lip glossy. I had to do so by giving her what she wanted. So for highlight, I'm going to be using my Maivels highlighter. I'm just going to apply it on the places I want the highlight to pop.
Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby, have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really want.
Then I added a little bit of this mismetic cheek glaze on the places I highlighted just to make the face glow.
Maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain. I know you told your friend you're not okay.
After that, I went back with my powder brush to blend everything together. So next, I'm going to be setting the face for the last time. After setting the face, I will let it dry into the skin. After drying, I had to seal it up with my So Pro Seal Spray. After sealing it, you have to let it absorb into the skin and we are good to go. And this is the finished look, guys. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you so much guys for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.